Today we're doing section 2.5, day 2, and we're talking about the zeros of polynomials. So we're essentially going to be working backwards. You're now given the answers, and your job is to create the equation. So as far as the answers we know, I have x equals negative 2. I have x equals a positive 2, and I have x equals I. Now, when we take the square root of a negative number, that's how we get the answer of I. So if I have a positive I, that means I also have a negative I. So that's something that you will always have to do. Also, your key hint is that it says fourth degree. In order for it to be a fourth degree, I need to have 4 answers. Now that we have that, I'm going to write the binomials that these came from. So x minus 2 came from an x plus 2. The second one comes from an x minus 2. And then I have an x plus I and an x minus I. And we're going to go ahead and FOIL. If you do the box, go ahead and put these on the outside. So for the 2 binomials on the left, I'll get x squared. Because these are the conjugate of one another, the inner and outer terms are going to cancel, and I'll just be left with the last term of minus 4. Same thing for the imaginary ones. I'll definitely get x squared for the first term. Again, they're conjugates of one another, so the inner and the outer would cancel. As far as like what it would look like if you did FOIL, I times x you would just say is ix. And then the negative ix would cancel out. And then you're left with a negative I squared. When you're faced with problems like this, you can never FOIL a real binomial with an imaginary binomial. You always have to FOIL the imaginary binomials together. So now I have x squared minus 4, and we know that this turns into being x squared plus 1, because this is a negative 1. Double negative changes it to be the plus. Okay, so from here, now we have to FOIL again. So I'll have x to the 4th power minus 4x squared plus x squared minus 4. Combine like terms, I get x to the 4th minus 3x squared minus 4. Now, this is the most basic an equation could be. We don't know if there was a constant value that was factored out, meaning like all divisible by 2 or 3 or 4 or so on. So notice they gave us this other fact up here that f of 3 equals 150. So we are going to, assuming I said this is f of x equals this equation, the f of x gets replaced with 150, and I'm going to input 3 everywhere I see x. So I'll have minus 3 times 3 squared minus 4. All right, so 3 to the 4th power is 81. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. And 81 minus 27 minus 4 is going to give us 50. So I have a times 50. And if I divide both sides by that 50, we get that a equals 3. This number should always work out to be a whole number, relatively nice number. So now that I've found the a value, the last thing that you have to do is you just kind of plug it in, and that's your coefficient. So my answer, and I'm going to kind of write it on diagonal because I don't have room, is going to be 3x to the 4th power minus 9x squared minus 12. So notice if I put a 3 there and just distribute it to all 3 terms, that is how we get that final answer. So I think actually that's it, and you're going to do the practice problem. See you tomorrow.